I've got wheat germs. Mom! Guys, please, she said. There was exhaustion and a panicky edge in her voice, something Joe had started to notice with growing disquiet. Both of you. Let me see that, Robbie said. He was looking at Joe's most prized possession, a Hostess baseball card of Reggie Jackson that Joe had found in a ho-hos box. Joe had it cupped in his left hand. It seemed impossible for him not to gaze at it every few seconds. No way. Give it, you're going to ruin it anyway. It's getting all smudged. Leave me alone. Whatever, it's just a Hostess card. Sucks anyways. You suck, Joe said. Then Robbie pulled a trick and pointed to his right, shouting, "Whoa!" as he did so. When Joe turned to follow his gaze, Robbie snatched the card out of his hand. Then he held it out the window, grasping it by a tiny piece of a corner between his thumb and forefinger as it fluttered in the wind. "Robbie, no!" Joe cried. Robbie smiled, a mean, toothless grin. Then the grin faded. Actually, everything faded in that moment. It got dark, really dark. What the? Lois started. Robbie, give it back, Joe yelled, not yet noticing the change in the lights. Robbie, mesmerized, let the card slip from his fingers. No! Joe was screaming now. Mom, pull over! His mother was pulling over, but not because Joe had asked her to. She was pulling over because everything to the left of them, the whole scene on the city side, was suddenly black. She eased the LTD off the highway and into a little pull-off area between the pavement and the river, a drop-off spot that allowed people access to Riverside Park up by 116th Street. By dark in the summer of 1977, that wasn't many people at all. Let me out, Joe screeched. Let me out, my card. The car came to a slow stop. Joe, come back here, he heard his mother yell, but he was already bolting up the side of the highway, dashing over broken glass, trash, and the occasional hubcap. He was desperately scanning the mess beneath his sneakers as he ran north, trying to see in the wash of headlights. But then, when the cars passed, there was no light above him, just the last weak glow in the sky. Joey, come back, Robbie called, catching up to him. It was an accident. Darkness threatened to swallow them completely in between the wash of headlights. Get back here, their mother called. Help me find it, Joe started. Another terrible minute or two passed, and then Joe's heart leaped. There it was, lying flat among some debris and cigarette butts. He held the card up, waving it triumphantly. His sense of relief was palpable, but then he caught sight of his mother. In her face, even from that distance, he saw worry and something like gnawing fear. Traffic was light, but cars were slowing down as the fact of the darkness set in, headlights glowing eerily down the highway like they were purposely moving in slow motion, like for a funeral procession. Move it, you two, Lois shouted. Something's going on with the power. Get back here. Mom, I found it, Joe said as they reached the car. He waved the card in one hand, and Robbie made a swipe for it. Give me that thing, Lois said. She glared at Robbie. You stand still. Then to Joe she said, give it here. I'll hang on to it until you two can get along. Give it, Joe, now. With an air of defeat, Joe handed over the treasured card, and Lois stuffed it into the back pocket of her blue jeans. From inside the car, the radio was no longer playing, I Just Want to Be Your Everything. Gibbs' High Whine had been replaced by static. What's up with the lights? Robbie asked. Joe looked toward the city through some trees. Some distance away, where the buildings were, he could see headlights shooting through the darkness, illuminating people on the street. I don't know, Lois said. But to Joe, she looked like she definitely did know, and he felt dread spreading through him as he studied her face. They had driven through frightening electrical storms about an hour earlier in Westchester. Now there was darkness around them and dead static on the radio. It was like a scary movie. Lois looked down at the two of them. Get back in the car. Chapter 1. Thursday, July 13th, 2017. Riegelman Boardwalk, Coney Island, Brooklyn, 11:50 p.m. Seagulls were picking at something on the beach. Wilhelmina, pushing a noisy shopping cart along the boardwalk in the moonlight, strained to see what it was. Wilhelmina had a great